Yeah, and I wonder how much blame truly does deserve to go over to their coach, because this was such a battle of managers, in my opinion, without Klopp using the pieces that he had at his disposal, be it very young pieces, was still able to outclass Mauricio Pochettino, who had a star-studded squad.
Yeah.
I think he deserves criticism for that, man. I think he does, because he did a great job by getting Chelsea here to this final and having a shot at silverware. But this moment was so big for Chelsea. I mean, they've gone without a trophy in the last 2 years, which is the first time that's ever happened since 2005, where they've gone more than 2 years without a trophy. So this was, really... This was building up to be a really important moment for Chelsea, a moment where these players that they had, these young players that they have, could see themselves as, champions of a tournament and boost their morale, boost their confidence, so they can evade that mid-table presence that they've had for so long. But I just think the way Pochettino manages this team, his emotional connection with the guys, something feels like it's missing, man. Yeah. Something truly feels like it's missing. And on the flip side, I'm hearing, I'm hearing so many Chelsea fans ask for his departure. And it is really interesting right now, because you have two ex-Chelsea coaches who were pivotal for them in major tournaments actually available right now at this moment, and Thomas Tuchel, who's going to leave Bayern at the end of the season, and another Chelsea man who is Chelsea through and through, Jose Mourinho, waiting on the silence for that opportunity. I'm just saying, from my perspective, I do think they need a managerial shift here. I think it's a very tough job to take upon, so it's not going to be one that's highly scouted. But if you have a guy like Jose Mourinho, who is more than open, in my opinion, or at least I envision him being more than open to take on this opportunity, prove his haters wrong once again, get back in the Premier League and do it with this Chelsea side, I think Jose Mourinho might be the move here. But at the end of the day, I am left disappointed with Pochettino so far this entire season and the whole tenure he's had, and just kind of how he fizzled out in this final performance against Jurgen Klopp.
That is such a great point, because you watch this game and it's super apparent who's the better coach, but by a mile. Jadon Danns comes on the pitch for Jurgen Klopp, and he immediately seems like he has instruction. He has a purpose to be on that pitch for Liverpool, whereas Moises Caicedo, I don't think he does anything for Chelsea in possession. He's good in ball retrieval, and he commits. Got Gravenberch injured, for example. So he definitely doesn't shy away from those physical opportunities defensively. But in possession, man, he doesn't really have an identity for this Chelsea side. But you could say that for a lot of these players. Other than Conor Gallagher, I see this Chelsea squad as kind of headless. There's not real identity. There's no real purpose behind this Chelsea side. And it's crazy that Jurgen Klopp can bring on a teenager, and there is a night and day difference between who has purpose and who doesn't. So I agree. Yeah. Pochettino, I don't think he's going to be the guy for Chelsea. He kind of has a track record for not really being successful when it comes to being in charge of really big squads like Chelsea. What's really interesting, though, is that, this Chelsea side is so underwhelming. Malo Gusto, I don't know why he's a right back. I don't understand what he really brings. I don't know what scout thought that he was going to be good enough for the Premier League. Not that he's a bad player, but if you want to be in the top 5, top 6, you can't have him starting as your right back. No. But even like players like Enzo Fernandez, who were successful at Benfica and with Argentina in the World Cup, they just don't seem like their usual selves in those previous squads. They just seem diminished here with this Chelsea side. So the scouts have got it wrong. The coaching staff has gotten it wrong. There's so much wrong with this Chelsea side. It only makes sense that they truly are in the mid-table of the Premier League. But thinking about who their next coach could be, Jose Mourinho is really interesting. I was thinking about this like a couple of weeks ago when he ultimately got sacked by Roma. I want to see Mourinho coach like a national team. I think he's got to stop with club football ultimately. I think he's past it in that regard. In his prime, from 2004 to 2016, over a decade, I think he was brilliant, phenomenal, one of the best managers to have ever coached club football in Europe. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. I think Mourinho's club career needs to end with Roma, honestly, because I just don't think he's going to do right.
Yeah, like on the national level. Who does he fit? Would he be Portugal's coach? Would he coach
that would be an
USA squad? Would he go Brazilian or South American with it? That's the only part I have trouble envisioning is who does Jose Mourinho choose to go with in terms of siding, giving his allegiance to guide their national program?
Yeah, I would say definitely somewhere in Europe. I think Portugal, if the job opens up, that'd be an easy appointment for the Portuguese Federation. Or Mourinho's open, let's get him. And I think he'd be really hyped up to do the job too. And I do think he'd actually be well suited for international football. He's a genius, and he's so experienced. But if not Portugal, I'd say any other European team. Like, honestly, I really think he could do the job, whether it's like a big team like England or maybe like a more mid team like Sweden. I don't think he'd do that, but he could do it if he wanted to. Or somewhere in South America, like a Colombia, maybe a Brazil.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy, but I think he'd have the ability to do that. I don't think he'd be interested to do anything outside of those two continents. Maybe the USA if the money's right. I don't know, but I'd see him more so in Europe than anything else.
So if you were to put money on it, you would say he's going to national team or a club team. His next team that he coaches, who's it going to be?
No. I wouldn't put money on it.
You say preferential.
Preferentially,
okay.
I would rather he go to a national team simply because I do think his club tenure as a coach is over. I just think it's run its course. If you look at it, he has gotten sacked from every single club job before Madrid. So once he joined the Madrid in 2010, 2011, he's gotten sacked every single time. That's 14 years of being sacked at where you're at. And since then, he's only won one time with... Shit, actually. Has he won since?
He won
a Conference League.
Yeah.
That's it, though. I think that's it, yeah. So he's only won...
And then Man United, he won the Europa.
Yeah. So he hasn't won a domestic league prior to Real Madrid, and he's only won a couple of continental titles, which is huge. He did get Roma to a Conference League final, so that's why I still think he's a class manager. But from a point of domestic league, I just don't think he's got it anymore. Not that that's really like a bashing on who he is. I just think all good things come to an end. I think he's past his prime.
Man. That's crazy that like he gets put in the conversation, rightfully so, between like Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Sir Alex Ferguson, Jurgen Klopp. But if you look at those four managers, he is the one that's gotten sacked the most.
Oh yeah, he's sacked a lot.
It's routine for him too.
Yeah.
But I wonder. It's like I feel like given his personality, given his track record, the way he is such a big character, I feel like the word sacking can be a little harsh on him, man. It can be a little bit harsh in regards to like comparing that to a typical manager that gets sacked and loses out on his job. Yes, he has lost that confidence from teams like how Roma lost confidence in him.
Yeah.
So that does deserve some criticism, but I just think there's a slight difference when it comes to Jose Mourinho because you know what you sign up for when you get him, and it's going to be a lot, and it might come with trophy, it might come with a crazy amount of highlights and moments, but there will be some lows, man. There always are with Jose Mourinho, and that just tends to happen, and it's what we saw with Roma and how it ended for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's ultimately why I think he should go into international football. But you just said it. He has the confidence and he does have the mind to still coach at the top, highest level in European club football. So if he does join a club like very, very soon or after the summer, won't be surprised. Like I won't be surprised at all. He still has the passion for it. So I'm not doubting that. I just think I'd like to see him in a different setting because, since Inter Milan, he's always ended on a low.
Yeah,
at every single
sure.
club he's been, always ended on a very, very dark low.
Yeah.